Oh, I'm doing that right now.
Do, 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 do.
This is taking. Okay. This one, for some reason, it's not showing up that it's live. What is going on here? Okay, there you go. Now it's live. Ew.
All right. Hey guys, we both get a Waze car.
All right. Welcome everyone to the first ever Team Serenity live stream. Woo!
Let's go.
And in case for those who don't know, Team Serenity is our actual official team name. And of course, Andrew and Doom decided to name this team after my OC Serenity. Solely on the main reason because I was the one that brought all three of us together. So that's kind of the backstory on the Team Serenity thing. But today we are going to be discussing our thoughts on the Knuckles show on all 6 episodes. So we are going to be discussing spoilers. So spoilers ahead on this. So please,
Yeah.
if you have not finished watching all 6 episodes of the Knuckles series, please watch them before listening because we are going to lay down spoilers for all 6 episodes. So just as a spoiler warning.
We're going to reveal everything, so leave now or forever hold your peace. Anyway.
All right. Let's discuss our thoughts on episode 1. What did you guys think of episode 1?
In short words, I love it.
Yeah, I think the first episode is very solid. It captures the magic of the films.
Great start.
And it's a perfect start. Yeah, it's great. It just shows Jeff Fowler knows what to do with this IP. So I have a lot of faith in Jeff Fowler. So whenever I see his name, I'm like, okay, it's in good hands.
Like I kind of like the setup too. That like literally Sonic is the one that speaks, and then when it's showing shots from the second film, it's like no, this is not supposed to. You're not supposed to show that. Like he's like it's like a self-aware moment, and I think that's what I loved about the beginning intro, where it's like Sonic kind of recaps, what happened in movie 2, when he met Knuckles. And it was a nice little recap, and then it kind of just brings into the episode. And
Yeah.
we get to see how Tails and Knuckles have adjusted on Earth, and what did you guys think of the way that like how Knuckles was like adjusting to Earth?
I think it was hilarious.
I mean, he did like beat up a bunch of guys and stole their Doritos. So
yeah, exactly. I think it's great. It just works for who Knuckles is. Like Knuckles is not used to this lifestyle. He sees everything as a threat. He's a warrior. He's got his own thing to do. So he's trying to adapt. He's trying to be himself, but it's just not working for him. And I think it just comes across really funny in the real world.
Like I think what I loved about it is that like he still has that, it's very obvious that he's still adjusting, it's pretty obvious that way. And Maddie is like, like you can see the inner struggle that she's like, should I tell him? Like that's not what you're supposed to do. Because I know in the first episode they're actually showing that they're actually trying to repair the house, after movie 2, and then of course, Knuckles decides to prank those guys, which he wasn't supposed to do. And then the fact is that Sonic mentions, I think that's like the fourth crew, I think, that he's scared of. Like,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I think that's
It
what
does it
Sonic.
every time.
And then Tails is like mentioning, it's like when are we ever gonna get that living room like whole fixed? Because it's starting to get cold at night. Like, like just that little detail that like I think that's what's interesting about it. um, and then of course I kind of like how Maddie decided to talk to Sonic and Tails about, boys, we need to discuss about, you know, Knuckles, right? It's like
Mhm.
because
Mm,
he doesn't know how to approach it, you know, because it's like, how do you talk to Knuckles, right? That what he's doing is not okay, you know, but she does want to do it, tackle it with sensitivity because it's like you said, Andrew, it, everything on Earth is so foreign to Knuckles. Like he's just
yeah.
learning all of this stuff. So, and I think what was surprising is that in that scene, Sonic actually mentions, um, "Hey, we just need to give him some time to adjust." You know, and then she's like, when did you start getting so wise? And then he just says, oh, because I just read a lot of cereal boxes. um, and the and I think that was pretty insightful because you know Sonic was just speaking from his own experience, and it's like, hey, I was in that position before, so hey, we gotta give him time to grow, you know.
Yeah.
And how
And
much time did that take?
because I think he was like, I think he said he was on Earth for like 7 years, you know, by the time at his current age, I think. Um,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to tell how old he is because they don't say how old he is.
Yeah,
um,
because they say Sonic is a, well, they keep saying he's a kid in the film,
mhm.
so I'm assuming he's like meant to be not in his not a teenager yet. I don't know.
Maybe like a preteen, maybe.
Probably like 11 or 12,
Yeah, like
maybe.
yeah, because like it's really hard to pinpoint his age. But the fact is that that he realized that like because Sonic got to spend time with Knuckles, you know, when Knuckles was trying to kill him in movie two, but but he understood that Knuckles was like, yeah, he's still adjusting, you know, we just need to give him, you know. And I like the fact that Sonic said, I had a family that was understanding and let me figure things out myself, you know. um, but the next scene is funny because Maddie's like, but in the meantime, do you think you could tell him to get our dog off the roof?
Ozzy!
Like, that's
The way,
the
like the way that Knuckles was just like at Ozzy being like, you need to have steely focus and the like steelier, steelier, steelier. And
and then Sonic's like, you know what? I think he's like, you know what? I think it's time for that talk. um,
Yeah.
if anything, and like I love the setting because you know you get to see the aftermath of like, okay, so this is very like probably just a short time because literally they're still trying to repair that hole.
Yeah.
So so I think that's what was interesting about that scene. And
Yeah.
and and the funny thing when Sonic was trying to give him some insight and stuff, Knuckles was just not listening and I'm just like
well, technically he was listening,
Mm,
but it wasn't the perspective that that everybody else would think of.
That's true.
yeah.
Like
And
Sonic's
yeah.
Sonic's just trying to break the ice and he just keeps saying no. How about this? No.
No. Nope.
Just
Yeah,
kept saying
just straight up no.
No.
but I do found it interesting that Sonic's advice is like, hey, why don't you try to make it more like, your how you live, your home, home is what you make of it, right? Because if you notice with Sonic, he had like a lot of stuff to keep himself entertained, you know. So unfortunately, the next morning, what was your reaction to the scene where Maddie just walks to the dining table and then you just see Knuckles with so much stuff on the chair?
The giant
Oh,
throne.
the iron chair.
Yes. What was your like full on thoughts? Like, how would you have reacted in that situation?
Okay, so
Well,
if I think
depends.
of
I mean, yeah, go on.
okay, so I'm just going to imagine this scenario if it was my baby brother and he built a whole entire chair made out of the toys that he throws on the floor. I have no idea how to feel about that. Like, I just, like, it's like when I walk home, everything is like a mess and things are in areas where they're not supposed to. I'm like, yep, I'm not dealing with this. Goodbye.
Oh my gosh. Uh, I think that scene was just perfectly executed because Maddie is trying to like keep calm because she's like, like she's like, boys, breakfast is ready. It just may seem like it's just a typical morning,
Yeah.
and it's like, whoa.
Yeah, what makes it worse is actually parts from the car.
Right?
Like, I felt like I think the funny part is that he made like the living room like a battleground.
Yeah,
Like,
I love that. With the mailman as well.
she's like, is
He's
that a
kidnapping mailmen.
like, is that our mailman? Please, I just want to go home. I'm so sorry. Like the
I mean,
fact
how
that
long was he in there? Like, like Knuckles obviously kidnapped him and put him in there for like how long?
that's a great question because I don't know like how early mailmen like go out to deliver mail. So that's a great question. Um,
Yeah, and he's like, I just want to go home. So he's been there for quite some time.
Jesus.
but that scene was just so hilarious. Like you gotta admit, it was hilarious. And then Maddie's like, "Oh right, get down from there. You are grounded." And then Knuckles is just, just being like so confused because you know, it's like I have no idea what that means. And then of course
Yeah.
Sonic and Tails like explained it to him, and then the fact that Maddie got him by saying, and most important of all, no warrioring. How dare you? And then you just see like, then she's like, oh, oh, and then like Sonic's like, Knuckles, do not mess with Maddie when she's this mad. And then he's like, okay. It's like I'll just take it. It's like I'll take my grounding with honor. He just
Take my grounding with honor.
like, and but the next scene after like Sonic talks to him, I think that was like no one expected Pachacamac to like to appear.
Yeah.
What was your genuine reaction to that?
How do you pronounce his name? That was my reaction.
Yeah. Like I have trouble. I actually have trouble saying it.
Pachacamac.
I'm like a Wade.
Yeah, I said it like Pachamaca.
Yeah. Pachacamac. Pachamacha.
Pachamaca.
Yes, but it is very hard to pronounce. Like I had trouble too, but then I was like, it's Pachacamac. But
Pachacamac. Hey, I did it.
yeah.
Pachacamac. 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 Hey.
it, it it does consider a tongue twister, if anything. Like it's
Mm.
definitely hard. I can see why. But the
I must
fact
say, my reaction when he appeared, because the thing is, I watched the whole series with my partner, so she's quite casual with the Sonic world. She doesn't know much about it, so she was like, "Who's this guy?" So I had to kind of explain.
Mm,
Um, My reaction was I was a little confused because it felt like Knuckles can always call for him at any time. It's like, so where was he in like Sonic 2? Like, why don't you go, help me out?
Like, I think what was funny is like, I'm a ghost, but then he's like, whoa, I need to learn how to control this because he went through the floor and he got Ozzy like barking at him. Like the fact that he couldn't control the ghostly aspect about himself made me laugh at first. But what did you think of like the because I know he was in the games, in the in the actual games for Sonic. He's like
Yeah,
he was like Tikal's father. But here it's like
yeah,
I think in the movie universe they kind of portray him as like I think he was like Knuckles' mentor, I think. So they kind of
yeah. He
changed.
was like the leader of the echidnas and stuff. Yeah,
He's more like a chief, if anything. The like,
yeah.
I thought Knuckles' mentor was his dad.
Yeah, so
Mm.
it is a little weird, you know. So I'm kind of like he looks up to Patrick Max. So I was
Yeah,
like,
and
I was
if
like, is he Tikal's father? I was like,
if his ghost can come down, where's the other echidnas? Where's Knuckles' father? Where didn't he come down and say, "Son, it's me"?
Hey, what's up? It's me, your dad. Anyway,
It's me, your daddy.
what the? I saw myself. I saw myself. I'm good. I'm good.
but I
I think
think
that's what confused me when he appeared. I was just like, I was personally confused. I thought I don't understand how this is, how this is working. Like, I don't, why is he appearing?
yeah, because I know you know, he does tell Knuckles that, oh yeah, it's like your warrior ring hasn't like finished. You need to mentor someone, and then it just shows Wayne.
Yeah,
And he's like, and he's like, Wade Whipple. I know this man. He's not a warrior.
He's not a warrior. Yeah, but he did eat a bunch of.
Like, but yeah, I think the change of lore was pretty interesting because I think maybe, you know, if we're going off of like, you know, both his father and Patrick Mac training him, it could be because didn't Knuckles say in movie two that his father, you know, he was like a little boy, you know, when they went to fight, you know, Longclaw's kind, you know, for
Mm-hmm.
and stuff.
mm-hmm.
Maybe he trained under his father first, and then you know when his father died, because that was the last time he saw him. Maybe Patrick Meg. It's a little weird, you know. I do agree. There's a bit of confusion of like, what's the timeline of
Yeah,
this? Because Patrick Max said, "Oh, you weren't like." He's like, "You weren't a warrior either when I first met you," and I'm like, "Huh."
yeah.
So it,
It creates a little confusion, and like I said, my partner knows nothing about like the Sonic lore as much as I do, and she was very confused.
yeah. because like because the movie universe does seem to change some lore, you know, from the main games, you know, which I totally
Yeah,
understand, you know, to fit the narrative they're trying to do. But it
yeah,
does
because that's yeah, because with films when they adapt, things into movies, they always have to think of the casual moviegoer audience and think, okay, we're going to balance the fans, but also focus on the non-fans so people can get into it their own way.
mm-hmm.
That's usually what they do.
Mm-hmm. Like I know, but yeah, it definitely causes like confusion because it's like Patrick Mac was Tikal's father in the games. From our knowledge, Knuckles, I don't think has ever met him. You know, just seen in flashback. You know, when he and Sonic were,
Mm,
you know, when Tikal took them to the past, right, to fully
yeah,
understand. You know,
yeah,
so
exactly, yeah,
like it was, but yeah, like the first episode really set up the show really good, where where I can see where that's like probably its strongest point, you know, um,
Yeah.
and stuff, and um, and then of course we get into the Wade stuff. I have to say, like, at first, because we actually did watch this, because Shane actually did a whole marathon of all 6 episodes of the Knuckle Show in the Revo server. Um, I think when we watch through the next episodes we're going to discuss, it it does really steer away from Knuckles, so I can see
Mm.
why it's justifiable why people are like disappointed in the show. um,
Yeah.
Not enough Knuckles.
yeah,
Not enough Knuckles.
because people are like, this should have just been called the Wade Show, if anything, because it's more focused on him than Knuckles. Like in the beginning, it was, but then it kind of like shifted, and then they're like, what?
Yeah. It feels like to me they had this whole thing for Wade, and they were told, oh, but no one's gonna watch it if it's a Wade show. Let's just try and tie Knuckles in as much as we can, and then
Mm,
they created this like Knuckles scenes and Knuckles bits in Wade's adventure, and said let's just try and tie it in together. That's just the feeling I get from it, because Wade's story, from all the episodes, to be honest, is actually pretty solid. It's
mm,
actually like there's actually nothing wrong with his story. The problems seem to be the Knuckles side, which
mm-hmm.
is weird.
Yeah. I I I think it kind of comes off as like it kind of felt like the title should have been Wade instead of Knuckles, and I can see
Yeah,
like
or Wade and Knuckles.
yeah, Wade and Knuckles, because at least it's like that's a bit more honest,
Yeah.
that you're showing. So like because like in the later episodes, Knuckles kind of becomes like an afterthought, I would say, because
Mm,
they kind of just showed Knuckles for more of the action aspect, because it's Knuckles,
yeah,
if anything. But episode one ended pretty solidly, actually.
it
I love
was.
I love those two like gun agents, like the corrupted gun agents, Mason and Willoughby. Oh my gosh, they're solid characters. like
Mm,
I like them. Like they're pretty interesting. Like the fact is that they kind of set up the buyer a bit, where it's like the buyer's like, oh, you two will not have a chance against Knuckles unless you can, be on par with him, if anything. And I was like, that's an interesting way to you know to start off episode one. Like episode one, very solid. a great way to introduce everything.
Who would
mm.
have thought that the dude that's saying stars in the sky would be one of the villains?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is the ironic thing. And I kind of like how he actually referenced Knuckles' quote from movie two, and then Willoughby's like, "What?" Like she didn't understand what he was
Do I look like I need your power? Yes, you do.
like. She did not get the reference or joke, and then "It's like that's why we're here. We're here to kidnap him and stuff." But all right, but let's move to episode two. What did you guys think of episode two? Which the episode was "Don't Ever Say I Wasn't There for You."
Uh, I think episode two was still entertaining. It still was like retaining what the still continued pretty well. I still found myself laughing. Still found myself enjoying, even if Knuckles was getting still kind of less a little bit. I was still like, no, I'm still entertained. I'm still liking this. I'm enjoying it. Um, yeah, because like I said, because even my partner was enjoying episode two as well, and if we're like, if we're hearing a lot of laughter watching the show, then obviously it's doing a good thing, you know.
Mm. How about you, Doom?
Look, even though this is Sorry, I'm just thinking about the fact that whoever was doing Wade's whatever it is, like I just love how Wade has like a stunt double doing everything and then there's like the reality of it where he has no idea what he's doing.
Oh my gosh, that whole elaborate plan daydream he had.
Yeah.
I think that was like the highlight of that episode. like, like Wade is like, okay, this is how I'm gonna do it. Like he's got the he's got the right idea, but he didn't really execute it pretty well in reality. Um, and the fact is that like the Willoughby and Mason weren't really taking him seriously because you could say Wade is kind of like goofy, like he goofed up out
Yeah.
the rescue novels. Like they weren't really taking him seriously. Um, but the humor was there though. Like the humor was, was pretty solid in this episode.
Yeah.
And stuff. So like but yeah, that was definitely but when you think about it, I'm not sure if you guys noticed that when Wade goes on this, road trip, he was actually branded a fugitive, and then it's like, huh, doesn't this give you the first Sonic movie vibes?
Yeah, that's the one thing I have for the Knuckles show. There was a lot of retread of the Sonic 1 film, the first Sonic film. I was a bit like, we've already been here, guys.
Yeah, because I immediately noticed and I'm like, huh, this is interesting. This was used in movie one. Tom was branded a fugitive, and he
Yep.
was with Sonic. And then here in the Knuckles show, we're here with Wade, and he's with Knuckles.
Yeah,
Parallel?
both through. Yeah, going on the road on the car as well.
Mm-hmm. And then Wade, and then Wade's like, oh no, it's like, I'm branded a fugitive. Like he heard, on the radio that he was branded a fugitive. So Knuckles is like, hey, we need to find a hiding place. And then of course this kind of leads into um but episode 2 was pretty solid. Like the humor was there. We can
Mm.
like like I said, that daydream of his elaborate plan to save Knuckles was the highlight.
I think another highlight that I really love about that second episode, the fact that Wade took Knuckles to a burger shack, and like it was like a victory meal, right? But the thing is that Knuckles didn't take that as a victory. It was just like dumb luck or something. I don't know. But from I think there's just like learning from each other. Like you could take anything as a
Mm.
victory, and like I don't know how to say words.
Yeah.
And also Knuckles glides as well, which was quite funny.
For a short period of time, and then Wade just fell in the trap.
Yeah. The funny thing is, when I was watching it, my partner was like, I didn't know Knuckles could fly. I was like, no, he's gliding. And then suddenly the show just did that straight after we said that. Wade goes, I didn't know you could fly. Oh, this is gliding. I thought, hey, we just did exactly what they just did.
The show knew that you were going to ask, Andrew.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it?
But
I also like the ET reference.
oh yeah,
Yes.
the
Yes.
I I think it was like it's like you said, Doom. Wade and Knuckles are like practically learning from each other because as in episode one, Sonic was trying to give him some insight, and it wasn't really working, which is pretty obvious. But here it's like since Knuckles is being pursued by Willoughby and Mason, it's like it's like you said, Doom. It's like Knuckles, like Wade considers it a victory, right? And
Mhm.
because from Wade's perspective, it's like, hey, I got you out of there. Wasn't that, because those two were like pursuing you. And it's like, you know, but Knuckles is like, oh, that's not a victory. We just escaped. If anything. Um, yeah, so episode 2 was pretty solid, as well. um and everything, but it's pretty interesting how it transitions into episode 3, which is the Shabbat dinner.
Mm.
Oh
um
gosh.
and this is where we actually meet Wade's mother and his bully of an older sister, pretty much.
Mhm.
um and everything. But I want to know, what was your like thoughts about episode 3?
Can we all agree that we don't like Wanda?
Yeah, I hate her.
Yeah.
Like she's so annoying. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like I think the actress played her very well because she is a character we're supposed to hate.
Yeah, I respect her for that. I just don't like her character. Well, I think
Yeah.
that's the yeah.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting because his Wanda is an FBI agent, apparently. And then of course his their mother Wendy. We kind of learn, about Shabbat, right? And 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 this is where we actually get into like Wade's backstory. We kind of learn about like his abandonment issue, with his dad, and then of course his older sister was always bullying him, so and do you want to know what was very, very funny though? Like you just see Knuckles and it's like you could tell he's that person where it's like I I feel like I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time because he can feel the tensions, you know? Like if you know what I mean? Like if you I'm not sure if you guys caught Knuckles' like expression when like the tensions were rising and then like Wade just like burst out in anger and frustration, and it's
Yeah.
like I love that Knuckles had that genuine like, uh-oh, I feel like I shouldn't be here. Like and
Bro knows what's going on.
yeah, it's like and and it's pretty interesting because if you notice that like Knuckles like is learning about a different family dynamic, if anything, because the Wachowskis, they're more united, they all love each other, meanwhile with Wade's family there's just so much dysfunction and stuff, and
Yeah.
you know and then I think Knuckles, in a way, kind of has a little bit of understanding of why Wade was kind of like, you know, he was a little like, the tensions were rising and everything, and then that night, of course, like, Wade's mother kind of like told him about the family customs. We kind of learn you know, about why she does it, and it's pretty heartwarming, but also sad at the same time. Like I wanted to know what was your like genuine reaction learning more about like Wade's backstory.
Um. Yeah, I kind of felt sorry for him, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you start finding more about his past, and it's like, oh, he's kind of had like a rough um family stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it made me kind of feel for him a bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's added with the fact, you know, they, he's kind of like a little like hesitant and, and Knuckles pretty much learns in this episode why Wade's reasoning for wanting to go to the tournament is because his father is a bowling champion, you know. and
Yeah.
and it was mentioned, you know, that his dad left the family, so you know.
He
but
left him at a TJ Maxx.
Yeah.
yeah, so it really, you know, it really makes you feel for Wade. You know, we have like at least a little better understanding of why he um you know, why he is the way he is, you know, because like, you know, the way a person turns out, you know, when they get older is the way their household is, you know. Um but yeah, in a way like Knuckles just learns a lot about him, and I think that's what was I think that's what was interesting about this episode. It's like it kind of just dives in, you know, into the serious topics, and I think they handled it with careful sensitivity, you know. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't like too much in your face. It's like it's just right where we as the audience while we're watching it can understand, you know. Where it's like, yeah, it's like combined with his father leaving the family, you know, to pursue his bowling passion, and then the constant bullying from his sister. It's like you can't really blame Wade for the way he the way he
Give
is.
him the way he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really can't. Cause I would have like if that were to happen in my family, I would have done the same thing. I would have just burst out in anger, walk into my room and crying, which I kind of did before, but that's not the case anyway.
Mm. But I'm curious, Doom. What did you think? Did From your perspective, do you think they tackled it with, you know, sensitivity, you know, where it's not too much in your face? What did you think
Huh?
about Wade's backstory?
Uh, hmm. I actually have no idea.
Like, uh, because I, because sometimes if you kind of put it too much in the audience's face, then you know, um, you know, sometimes it might be a little coming on too strong, you know. But I think they tackled it with sensitivity because you know those are serious topics, you know. But they handled it where it's not too much in your face, you know. It's like
Yeah.
we can get the basis of like, oh, okay, his sister bullying him, you know, ever since they were young, and then dad leaving the family. Okay, it's kind of like we get the message of why Wade is the way he is. So, um, but I want to know, what did you guys think of that the group of bounty hunters when they attacked the house?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Okay,
I don't know.
I kind of want to talk about the fact how amazing Wade's mom is. Like they broke into her house, and she's like, "You come to the wrong house, fool. Knuckles protect the candles." What?
Yeah, like the mom can definitely fight.
But we all knew that was a stunt double.
Mm-hmm. Like,
I did quite
it's
like.
so obvious too.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did quite like the action scene actually of that. I think it was quite cool how they did it with like turning the camera around, spinning it around and stuff. It was really cool.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that was some great video choreography. Like whoever did that, like I think they were also trying to capture what the movies did because they kind of did, you know, they kind of did like choreography similar, you know. So I think that was very well executed, you know, the way they did that scene. If anything. Um so yeah, was episode 3 like probably in the same boat as episode 1 and 2? I'm curious what you guys think.
I mean, to me, I personally like it, except for the scenes with Wanda, because well, we all know she sucks.
Yeah.
For me, I found, like I said, I found his family life. I don't know. I think you could easily like, depending what your family life is like. You know, if you've got some issues or problems, I think you could easily relate to it. And I think it was a good scene. I think it was a good episode. I still, yes, to me, it was still enjoyable to watch. And I quite felt, like I said, I felt more. I felt more for Wade after watching that episode.
Yeah. Like because in the movies because in the movies he's just like, comedy relief. When you think about it, he's just comedy relief.
Yeah, because like we didn't know much about Wade, cause and yeah. So I kind of want to talk about the fact that during the Shabbat dinner, Knuckles was the only one that's like there for Wade's mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. I like that, to be honest.
Yeah. Because in a way, Knuckles is learning about why she wants wants both of her children there, because it's like her husband left her and them, and she wants to make memories, you know, but that's definitely tough, because I think she was pretty much the one that was raising them, most of the
Like
time.
by herself. That's gosh.
Mm.
Yeah, so I really like that. Like they handled it with like sensitivity where it's like, and it also makes it relatable for audience members, for viewers who had to deal with something similar to Wade. I think it was tackled with great sensitivity. It's like they just kind of give you, you know, like I think I like the way it it went from like the tension and you can really feel the tension. I'm not sure if you guys felt that when the tension was rising, you know.
Oh, I could feel it. Yeah.
Feel what?
If the tension within the family.
Oh God.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I could feel it. Yeah.
it's kind of like, because if you were in Knuckles' position, wouldn't you feel like, I probably shouldn't be here? Like he had that look. If anything, he had that look, and it's like, yeah, I'd be Knuckles in this
Yeah.
situation. I don't want to be stuck where, the tension is like rising between family members, and it's kind of like,
Yeah.
it kind of feels
It's
like you're
not that
there.
to me, it's not like I didn't want to be there. It's more like the fact that I am the family members that have like this rising tension with the others. Cause my gosh, I mean, you heard what was going on outside.
Mm.
Mm.
You heard my brother screaming.
Yeah. Like, but that scene was so well executed because you can see how dysfunctional the family is. Like, um, because the mom was trying to be, the mediator. Wanda just has like, I don't know. I don't know if they ever explain why she bullies him so much, but it's but
Because like she's the older sister or something.
I,
Is
like
she?
I believe she is the
I
older
think so.
sister.
Yeah. That usually happens with older siblings.
The I don't I don't fully remember the reason why, other than just being the older sibling to bully him, but I think maybe she could have mentioned like stuff that like probably mentioned parts of his personality. Maybe that's why she bullies him, but but yeah, yeah. For sure, I hated Wanda. It's like, but I do respect the actress who played her because, yeah, I think the viewer is supposed to hate Wanda.
Yeah, because like I love you for who you are. I just hate your character.
Like, and everything. Like, how about you, Andrew? Did you hate Wanda when she first appeared?
Yeah, I mean, I think hate's a strong word. I'll say disliked.
Mm.
Oh, me, it's hate because I feel strongly about this character. And I'm like, I'm so glad that my sisters aren't like her.
Mm.
Cause like, yeah.
Yeah, because
Mm.
because like the way she bullies him, it's like she belittles him. It's like, oh, you're just like a town sheriff. What's so impressive about that? Like she's putting him down,
Yeah,
you
like, girl, shut up.
know? Like, you know, and everything. So it's like, but yeah, Wanda is basically a character you're supposed to hate, and the actress did an amazing job at that. um, and stuff. But episode 3 was still pretty decent. You know, like it
Yeah,
introduced the backstory. I enjoyed it. Like the first 3 episodes really established it very well. You know where it was going.
it did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah, the first 3 episodes were all pretty solid. All right, let's talk about episode 4, the flame disaster. I have a lot to say about this. Episode 4. Oh my gosh. Where do I. Okay, the highlights and spotlight of that is literally Wade having a fever trip dream musical about the flames of disaster. And about, Knuckles' backstory, because pretty much that musical was talking about Knuckles' backstory. in
Mm-hmm.
and and the fact it's literally the dude that kidnapped him in a cage was singing it.
Jack Sinclair.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
like and I think what was cherry on the top was literally Wade dressed up as Knuckles. What were you guys' thoughts on that musical number?
I was like, wait, what's going on? And then the musical bit came on. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I was quite mixed. I feel like I thought it was entertaining, funny. I love the whole how they did it, the design of it, and the sets, and the puppetry of Iblis and everything. And I liked all of that. But at the same time, I felt a bit like the way they're saying about Knuckles' past. It kind of felt almost like they're kind of just playing around with it and just like
Mm.
I can't find the right word. I guess like slightly mocking Knuckles' past because in the movie too, it's like he takes it very seriously and he's like talks about his father passing, and in this it's like they just do a puppet and everything is like avenge me, son. Oh, it's like
Yeah.
I don't know. I was kind of torn a little bit. Like I feel like I can't take it too seriously, but at the same time, it's like but number two was trying to make it serious.
Mhm.
At the same time, I love the whole like the way it was done and the musical the song is actually catchy and Michael Bolton is singing in it. It's just great.
Yeah, how did they get Michael Bolton in there?
That's
No,
a
right?
that's a great one. I was so when I was on the stage with Shane and Josh when Shane was showing all 6 of the episodes for the marathon, and we're just like, what in the world are we watching? So that was like, we're just like, is this really the Knuckles show? Like we were like there was just so many emotions going racking through my brain right now. I'm just like I'm trying to grasp this. Like, uh, why is this a musical?
Because yes, sometimes musicals can make history pretty entertaining.
And I actually made the joke that like this is some fever trippy dream, and this is literal. It is a literal fever trippy dream, if anything. And that's what I loved about it. Like when you think about it, would that be like a fever trippy dream that you would have, but then it actually happens in the show that it is a fever trippy dream? if anything. Um, but of course, you got to admit, Patrick O'Mac, like he's like, oh, you're. I forgot what did he say that he's in this like I don't know what the space was called like, but I know he mentioned something along that. but
Yeah.
but
Man,
yeah,
nobody remembers what Patrick Kamek said.
yeah,
Poor Patrick Kamek.
yeah,
I can't remember what he said.
yeah.
Apart from he's like, just go with it, man.
Like it was like the like I do agree with you, Andrew. I was mixed as well. Like I find it hilarious, on the funny hilarity on it aspect, because
Yeah.
like it is supposed to be hilarious, but at the same time, it's like wasn't Knuckles' backstory supposed to be like serious? So why was it in
Yeah.
physical form?
I don't know, but it was Patrick Kamek's idea, so blame him.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. It's all his fault. I blame Christopher Lloyd.
And I think that's what yeah, the musical has like its quirky charm, and it's what makes
Yeah.
the episode, if anything. Like but the beginning of the episode was pretty funny because like Wade's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have a wonderful morning, and then he just gets dragged. And he's like, Knuckles, help me. And then like Wanda's like, are you gonna help him? No. He needs to learn how to he needs to learn how to get he needs to learn to rescue himself and get out of it himself. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
Knuckles.
Yeah, he needs to learn how to do it himself. I can't do it myself.
He needs to learn.
But I was just like, but I kind of like it though. Like, what was funny is that the first half of it was like, he's like, I think I got the message. He leaves and then he wakes up, right? And then he's like, let me, he tries to do the method that, he supposedly learned, the lesson from the musical. And then he's like, okay. And he's like, that didn't work. It's like, I need to go back to sleep or electrocute myself to get back into the dream.
What a way, just electrocute yourself and then seriously, don't touch the bars. Yeah.
Like I kind of like the fact that it's the first half of it, and then he wakes up, and then the second half of it, and I'm like, this is a great way to break the musical in half. I think that was a clever way to do it.
Yeah.
Just for comedic effect, because it's like and stuff. So I think that's what they did well with the musical.
Yeah. It's also weird to think that Knuckles took on Iblis, you know what I mean? Not Silver.
Yeah,
Knuckles is just that powerful.
Yeah, Knuckles took on Iblis himself and got the flames of disaster.
yeah, I think that's also another lore change that people were like, "What? What?"
Yeah.
Like
Then again, general audiences don't know anything about Iblis.
Exactly, yeah.
that's true. They probably just think, "Oh, they probably made it up." No, it's not made up.
Or maybe they think that's part of the actual backstory of Knuckles, but we fans know that's not, but to the casual audiences that don't know Knuckles will think it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think the Flames of Disaster thing, like lore change was quite interesting because it's like, huh. And then I know people made the joke that like Knuckles easily defeated the Flames of Disaster, and it's like, and people put in the chat, meanwhile, Silver be like, seriously?
It took him years to take him down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because, if you all know from the infamous game of Sonic 06, the Flames of Disaster was
Jesus!
was half from, the other half to Mephiles. You know, we all know that
Yeah.
in the actual game of Sonic 06. But
What's
Yeah.
this about Mephiles?
um the Flames of Disaster is the other half to Mephiles.
Oh
because
yeah, I forgot about that.
yeah, if you remember, because of the experimentation that Elise's father and I guess the science department or whatever they're called, they were trying to, I guess, I don't know what they were trying to do with it, but apparently because of the explosion, it split them in half. Because
Yeah.
Netflix and Flames of Disaster makes Solaris, so we all know the original lore, but here they make the Flames of Disaster like nothing connected to Solaris or anything like that. So it was an it,
Yeah.
it was an interesting lore change. But yeah, I think that's what caught people off guard because they're like, how did Knuckles defeat the Flames of Disaster? Because isn't this thing like immortal or eternal, if anything?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I have no idea.
So it's like in here they kind of make it seem like it's like in the according to the musical they made it seem like it was actually easy to defeat the Flames of Disaster when in reality in the actual games it's not as easy to defeat the Flames of Disaster. So
It's literal hell.
yeah, but I want to know, what were you guys like laughing when Wade was dressed as Knuckles to in the musical?
Well, not really until the Knuckles voice came up and he said, "I'm Knuckles" or something.
Yeah, I started laughing more when he had Michael Bolton's singing voice.
I will find the flames of disaster.
But yeah, you gotta admit that musical was like, I think it was the last thing, it was the least expected thing anyone expected on their first watch. Like
Yeah,
I
but can we
Yeah.
talk about the fact that when we're talking about episode 4, we're talking about the musical and not the rest of the episode?
hey,
That's
did
so
you
true.
like I did talk about the beginning. The beginning was pretty funny because like Knuckles just be like, no, he needs to save himself.
I can't.
And so, but of course, after that unexpected musical part, we do we do see him wake up the second time, and he just barges out of there like he's Superman or something, which was the funniest thing ever. I'm just like, okay, he's Superman. Oh,
Wade
like,
is Superman.
like, and what did you guys think of the match between him and Jack? I guess the jousting. I think that's what it's called. But they
um,
joust.
he was okay.
And the only way that Wade defeated him was to cut off his hair.
Yeah.
I found it funny that Wade actually used one of the kids' bikes because he didn't have a motorcycle. He had to end
You
up.
need a bike to fight. What? What? I couldn't hear you. You're like far away. I'll admit that part was kind of funny.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. That's actually pretty realistic because if you're far away,
Yeah.
you have to yell for the other person to hear you.
Yeah, I was going to say that was pretty realistic because most shows and films, when they do those scenes like that, you could always hear each other. So they must have superhero hearing or something, but this was really realistic.
They did something like that in Shazam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ah, I have not seen Shazam.
What?
I know, I have not seen Shazam.
Okay. Sorry to spoil that bit for you.
Spoilers.
By the way, just know that I didn't say anything.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything. All I heard was noise.
Nah, you heard.
Oh my gosh. But that jousting, like I said, I love how he cut his hair and then Jack was like, my beautiful hair. And then um And then I kind of like how that little girl's mom is like, finish him, Wade. like, like she was like all for it, and that was like that part got me. And and the fact that he's like, I'm gonna need that jacket. He's like so afraid, and he gave it to him. So
Winner takes all. So he especially just.
yeah, so the jousting was pretty hilarious. Like, you gotta admit, right after like a musical number, so that was pretty funny. And then of course at the end, that iconic hat. Wade ended up wearing that iconic hat that we all know that Knuckles wore. And he was riding Jack's motorcycle. And then you just see it like it's just like epic. He's like driving back to the house, to his mom's house. And
Yeah.
then he went on the grass and his mom's like, "Get off the grass." Oh, sorry. It's the motorcycle off the grass.
I may have won, but I also have to respect my mom.
Yeah. And stuff. And then Knuckles was like, "He's ready."
Next thing you know, no, he wasn't.
All he needed was the hat. He's
Yeah.
ready.
I love the fact that they incorporated Knuckles' hat in the show. It just wouldn't be the same, because were you expecting Knuckles' iconic hat to make it into the
No, I did not. It was
Actually-
a big surprise.
Actually, yes, because it was promoted with the hat. Like, didn't you remember that?
Yeah,
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised that they advertised the hat to be in the show.
Yeah, like when you saw the image that they're like recording for the Knuckles show or something like that, they have the hat on that chair.
Mm-hmm.
And people would expect the hat to be there, and it was there. And when you ask like, "Oh, were you expecting the hat?" and I'm like, "Yes," because they promoted it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm like, I really love how they incorporated it, because it's like Wade is wearing it first, and then at the end of it, where they're driving to Reno, Nevada, Knuckles is wearing it. So I was like, I like this. Like,
Actually, he also wore it when he was about to get jumped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, I just love the incorporation of the hat, because like if they did not incorporate the hat, what would your reaction have been if they didn't incorporate
If
the
they didn't put the hat in the show, I would have said it's the worst show ever made. I'm joking. I don't know. I don't think I would react. I don't think I would have a reaction. Just be like, okay, they just didn't use it.
If they didn't use the hat, I'd say that's a crime.
But they delivered, and the hat, the iconic hat, it is in the show. So I am so glad they did that. So and do you think episode 4 was on par with the first 3 episodes? I'm curious.
I don't know. I don't know. I think the musical number was the best thing about the whole entire episode.
I have to agree on that one. Because
Mhm.
musicals make history more interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the musical is on par, but the rest of the episode not so much.
So it kind of felt like it fell flat, like where it's like,
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Thank you, Patrick Kamek.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure like for those who have watched episode 4, the musical was pretty much the highlight and spotlight of the episode. And it really shows, if anything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with you both. The musical was pretty much the spotlight and highlight of it. In a way, because episode 3 was Wade's backstory, and then of course episode 4 in musical form was pretty much Knuckles' backstory. You know,
Yeah. And also, we got Knuckles stuff in the first episode. It felt like we had Knuckles episode, then we had a nice in between, and then we had Wade's episode, and then a nice musical number.
Hmm. And when you think about it, like, like Wade was just going along with like Knuckles's, warrioring thing, but here he has like a better understanding because, it was in musical form that he learned about Knuckles's backstory. And then of course the previous episode, Knuckles was learning about Wade's backstory. So they're kind of a bit of a role reversal thing. Like they learned about each other when you think about it. I'm not sure if you guys noticed that.
Oh, I noticed that for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like episode 3 and 4 was just pretty much just learning about the other's backstory. Like Knuckles has a better understanding why Wade is the way he is, and then like Wade didn't fully understand, he fully didn't understand about Knuckles, and about him, and then when he went into that musical fever trippy dream, he has a lot more better understanding. So I think at least what episodes 3 and 4 do pretty well is like they're learning about each other's backstory.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they did well in both of those episodes.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's talk about episode 5, Reno Baby. Apparently that's what it's titled.
Reno, baby! Reno!
So this one's quite interesting because this is where they actually arrive in Reno, Nevada, and Wade actually reconciles with his absent father, Pete.
Pistol Pete.
And then, of course, Wade participates in the bowling tournament. Moves up in the ranks. And then I think he's hitting. The tournament's going on. It's like okay. And then of course we go back, focus back on Mason and Willoughby, and of course since they failed to deliver Knuckles to the buyer, he gives them one last chance to recapture Knuckles. So and then we kind of just see them briefly, and then like it goes back to Wade's mother is like warning Wade about like, your father might leave you again because it happened once, it could happen again. And I think I love that because that's very realistic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is where I think for me, this is where the show, like where the Knuckles stuff becomes just like a problem. Because the Wade story is just it works. It has good moments, has good scenes. Him and his dad scene, and him and his mother scene, and you can tell the story is now just about the bowling. Really, like it's all about that now. And like then they remembered, like, oh wait, we have to wrap up Knuckles with the buyer. We have to use him. It just I feel like the villains become very at this point underused, where it's like they're just kind of there.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah. I agree with you, Andrew. It's like we do spend more time with Wade, if anything. That's why people are like, man, this should have just been called the Wade Show.
Yeah.
Or like you said, Wade and Knuckles, like that would have been a
Yeah.
lot more honest in terms of the title. Um but I do agree, yeah, like it felt um Willoughby, Mason, and especially the buyer were just there. Like
Yeah.
it felt like they were just there just for the fight choreography,
Yeah, they're just there to bring the action in, so people don't get so like the younger audiences don't get bored.
Yeah.
Can I be honest?
Mm-hmm.
I almost thought for a moment that the buyer was Crazy Carl.
Yeah,
I thought for a moment.
They do look
That would have made a lot of sense.
And what is Knuckles? The Red Devil or the what would he be called?
That's a great question. I don't even know if Crazy Carl has like a nickname for Tails and Knuckles.
But at the same time, he's proven that he was right. So nobody. So like, what kind of thing would he be talking about? Like that would, yeah, like you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I told you, the blue devil, the blue devil, he's right there. He's right there. He's right.
Mm-hmm. Um, but what I but yeah, I do agree with you, Andrew. The villains, like they were just underused where it's like I get,
Mm.
like it's like you said, like it feels like it was more about the bowling tournament. Um, but
Yeah.
but we do get at least what I love is that like Wade's mom was warning um was warning Wade because that's actually pretty realistic because like if like say for example if your absent parent suddenly comes back into your life so many years later, there's going to be a repeated pattern that most likely that they're going to leave you again. And that
Mm.
and I think that's a true on true fact.
It
It's very
really is. I imagine the scenario with my actual dad.
mm-hmm.
Mm.
So
Same.
it like it's very realistic if anything that like but I like that's what I loved about it because it's like his mom was warning him. It's like he left once, he's gonna leave again. It's like he cares more about his bowling career than what does that say about him? You know, like
Entitled.
like because when you think about it, like like Wade's father pretty much shows what's more important to him. His family was never important to him. It was just his bowling career, if anything. Um, and then um, I was like, I found it very interesting that like they kind of subvert your expectation, a bit where it's like Wade finds Mason and Willoughby holding his mom and his sister hostage, as we all know in episode
Mm.
5. Because yeah, Pete decided to do the most jerkish move and he pretty much wanted to sold them out to keep Wade out of the tournament. I'm like, that is going so low. I'm like, like that just makes me hate his dad even more.
How low can you go?
Exactly, because it's like, dude, that's just that's just messed up. If anything, like that's really messed up because that's like cheating your way. Like you're basically telling your own son to forfeit so he can keep your bowling champion title. I'm like, wow, like that's really as low as you could go. And then of course, they're like Willoughby and Mason are like, hey, you need to tell Knuckles to come over here, right? And stuff.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
and then I kind of like how they subvert your expectation, because it's like going into the next episode, right? And it's like Wade is like, oh, hi Knuckles, you know. um and then what's really cool because in the sixth episode, because sixth episode just continues right after episode 5, leaves on that cliffhanger. So let's talk about episode 6, which is what
Mm.
happens in Reno stays in Reno. um so it kind of it actually pretty much revealed that Knuckles was actually listening the entire time. I'm like, I love this subverting expectation. Like, how did
That
you
was pretty smart.
yeah, it was actually pretty
Mm.
smart because Mason and Willoughby thought they had the advantage. They're like, oh, it's like make sure he comes alone, right? They tell us like tell him that he needs to come alone. But in episode 6, Knuckles heard the entire conversation, so he knew what was coming, and I say that was a pretty smart move, you know. It was definitely
Mm.
it was definitely clever. Um, and it was really And what did you guys think of like the fight choreography with Knuckles and versus Mason and Willoughby?
Yeah, I
Andrew, you
think
have something to say?
what?
Did you have something to say about this? Because like I'm trying to get my thoughts in order.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I think the fight scene was it was good. Yeah, I like how the fight scenes in this show are very high quality, almost like because you forget it's a TV show. At some point, sometimes you think you're watching an actual movie. So they capture the quality very well with the action scenes. Um, the only thing I have is I just feel like the fight scenes in episode 6 just felt like they had to happen because they have to get this over and done with to go back into Wade's plot.
Mm.
um, because I don't know, I feel like even the final climax was like interrupts the Wade story to then go straight to that final climax to then quickly wrap it up and go, okay, now let's go back. Because that's out of the way now, it's done. And also even then it was also a rehash of the first Sonic movie again, where it's like the characters on the floor, Sonic obviously hears, friend, he gets back up, Knuckles hears home, he gets back up. It was so similar. I was just like, oh, we're just repeating the first movie.
Mm.
I mean, they were going through like the same thing. Like when they first came on Earth, they have no idea what they're doing until they spend until they spend their time with a human being and they know what it's like to live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So of course it's going to be similar to the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it was too similar.
I think maybe it was because it's like you said, like they had to wrap up everything in the last episode. Like if they had like an extra episode, maybe they could have, paced it out a bit better.
Mm,
Because it's like you said, the last episode had so many things going on. It's like first we have the Mason Willoughby, Knuckles trying to fight them off, right? We have
yeah.
we have that segment in the episode, and then they get defeated.
And we have the
It-
yeah.
th- then we have like Wade, proceeding to the tournament to challenge his father, and then
And we just have the buyer come out of nowhere, just just comes in.
Like, where did you come from? We know you, but we also don't know you. When did you?
exactly.
Yeah.
And then, Knuckles, fights the buyer while Wade is, doing the tournament. So I think, like if it was like paced out a bit better instead of trying to fit it all in one episode, like
Yeah.
episode 6 would have been pretty solid. But I think it was
Yeah, and
pacing was just too
I think
fast.
they should have I think they should have fleshed out the buyer a bit more. So when it came to the climax, you really get more like, oh, here we go, here it comes. Been building to this. Instead, it just happens. It's like, okay,
Yeah, like I do agree because like they didn't really the thing they got wrong in the Knuckles series was they did not give the buyer enough time, enough screen time at all.
yeah,
So
Like
like we don't know about him, but at the same time, like
he's just there.
he's just there.
he's
Yeah.
just there for action and to give Knuckles a villain, even though
Yeah,
he wasn't.
and the villain
good.
and the villain being Crazy Carl's evil twin.
Yeah, so it was just like, if they would have made it like a few more episodes, then maybe all of this could have been wrapped up a bit better, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the buyer, like, it felt like the buyer was only like what, like 5-10 minutes screen time out of all 6
Yeah.
episodes.
Then again, nobody cares about the buyer.
Like,
Exactly.
yeah, because like it was like I love how mysterious he is, because the only thing we know about is that he was like a subordinate of Robotnik from what I remember.
Mm.
That's the
And
only
he has
thing.
and he has a bunch of Knuckles, Knuckles' quills for some reason.
Mhm.
Where did he get it from?
Yeah, is it other echidnas? Was he there with Knuckles' dad? Who knows?
Because it's weird because the the parallels are definitely there. Like it's like you said, Andrew, this really feels like they're doing Sonic movie 1 again, but with Knuckles.
Yeah.
Like there's just so many things similar because like literally Robotnik was pursuing Sonic. Just like how, the buyer had this weird, like you could say, obsession to get Knuckles, right? Just like how
Mm.
Robotnik had the weird obsession to pursue Sonic in the first Sonic movie. So it's like, that's interesting.
Yeah. I think, you know what, they could have just, cut the whole buyer out and made Knuckles and Wade become a duo for the bowling. And Knuckles learns, it's about the family side through the bowling game, and then, Wade learns to be more like a warrior, defending himself through Knuckles. I actually think we didn't actually need a big final climax at all. I think Knuckles should have been the one with Wade in the bowling. I think it would have been different, and it would have been quite nice. I
Mm,
think.
mm. Yeah, because when you think about it, if you just cut the buyer, Mason and Willoughby, it wouldn't really take away from the show, if anything.
Yeah.
Because in the later episodes, they were like treated as like an afterthought, if anything. Like,
Yeah. So the script writers just remembered, like, oh wait, I forgot about these characters. We better bring them back quick.
yeah, like wrapping everything up in episode 6 was like, yeah, the pacing was just too fast. There was just too much going on in that episode. If they would have like spread it out in like a few episodes, then maybe I would have considered the buyer and Mason and Willoughby more of a threat. But they
Mm,
were like the way they treated those villain characters. They were just treated as like an afterthought. So
yeah.
like um and stuff. And but I did love the bowling tournament. The bowling tournament was was pretty fun to watch. like
Yeah.
like like you can really see he that he was just as great as his dad, you know. It
I mean, yeah.
um and and of course yeah, like if they would have developed the buyer in every single episode, then maybe I would have taken him seriously as a villain, you know.
Mm,
Like the buyer's just all like, "I'll get you someday, Knuckles." Meanwhile, with Knuckles and Wade, bowl it.
yeah.
Yeah. And
I think in the end they shouldn't have had this bio villain. They should have just kept it with like Wade's dad being the villain at the end.
yeah.
It still would have worked out, I think. I know some people might say, "Oh, but where's the action?" But it's like the bowling is the action.
You're not wrong there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the buyer is mainly Knuckles' villain, while Wade's dad is his villain.
Hmm.
Yeah. I still think it could have worked for Knuckles to learn, and it still would have been a Knuckles themed story in the end.
Yeah. Because like I said, it's like if they would have developed the buyer in all 6 of the episodes, then maybe I would have considered him like a pretty good villain. But as I said, the buyer and Mason and Willoughby were like treated as an afterthought,
Mm,
so like if you try to cram way too many like plot points and you're trying to like conclude everything, yeah, episode 6 fell flat in terms of the pacing. Like the pacing was just like
yeah.
all over the place. Like you're like, okay, we got to deal, with Knuckles got to deal with the fight with Mason and Willoughby, and then right after that, he's just chilling, right? While Wade is doing
Yeah.
his bit. But then, oh no, the buyer comes out. He's like, hey Knuckles, I've been looking for you, and then they fight, and it's like.
Yeah. Yeah, Knuckles was eating a sandwich, wasn't he? Knuckles was trying to eat. And he
He's
gets
trying to eat it.
interrupted.
He's trying to eat his knuckle sandwich. Come on.
Exactly.
But what I think was interesting, though, I'm not sure if you noticed the role reversal. You know how in Sonic Movie 1, you know how like Robotnik had that one quill, right? And then
Mhm.
and then Sonic like absorbed that, right? He absorbed that energy from that one quill. Um, Meanwhile, the buyer actually absorbed Knuckles' power. So you can kind of see there was a little bit of reversal a bit. I'm not sure if you guys caught that.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because remember, the buyer was so obsessed with getting Knuckles' power. Remember, he drained Knuckles of his power. And then,
Mm.
Wade had to like step in using bowling balls, which was very funny.
And then there's Tom who punched Robotnik in the face.
Yeah. I'm surprised the buyer has like this giant machine, beats the crap out of Knuckles, but gets his like, butt kicked by Wade with bowling balls. It's like you think it would have fired lasers at him or something, or just charged at him quickly and whipped him or something. But no.
You've been Wade Whitbull. I'll shut up.
Just been whippled.
Okay, from what actually he didn't. I mean, Wade didn't actually beat the buyer up with the bowling balls. More like he kind of weakened him, maybe. And then Knuckles
Yeah.
finished him off with the flames of disaster.
Yeah, true. But what I mean is, it's like he beats the crap out of Knuckles like completely, and Knuckles is like jumping at him all sorts, and yet Wade is taking his time throwing those balls like while talking to Knuckles at the same time, and the buyer was like taking way too long to get there.
Yeah.
Okay, but remember, he absorbed Knuckles' power. So of
Mhm.
course
He should be more powerful. He should be more powerful.
Yeah.
he got it back with the flames.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, I think maybe, like the buyer just had a one, like, how there's some villains that just have like a one track mind, Maybe that was just his whole purpose. He's like, oh, you're insignificant, He's like, I don't think there's any point of me getting rid of you. I already have power.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
He's
what
like was yeah, he was so obsessed with Knuckles, he made sure the machine was specifically only against Knuckles. It was like, I've got everything covered
Mhm.
except bowling balls.
yeah, screw Wade. I'm gonna use it to specifically defeat Knuckles. Bowling ball.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm thinking, the buyer just had a one track mind. That was his whole entire purpose in the show anyway. He's like, I just wanted Knuckles' power. That's all he wanted, he didn't really
Mm,
see, you could say he didn't really see Wade as a threat, his,
no.
hey, I should be more powerful. So
But
if any
technically, he absorbed Knuckles' power, so he had Knuckles' power. So why didn't he just turn around and leave?
That's a fair point, actually. What? Like you have his power. Why do you have to beat him up? What did he do? You want his
Yeah,
power. You got his power. What do you want more? What more do you want?
yeah.
yeah. Knuckles is on the floor, so it's like, okay, I've got it now. Bye.
Knuckles on the ground. I'll shut up.
But yeah, yeah, like it felt like they did not really think of the buyer's like whole like thought process. If anything, they didn't really
No.
think of the whole thought process. It's like realistically, if he had his power, you could have just like flew away or something. Like, why didn't
Yeah.
you? You just stayed there. That was the biggest mistake you did, if anything. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, dude was like Ariel because he's like, who cares? No big deal. I want more. That was terrible. That was terrible.
but yeah, like the buyer was, to me, it's like he was just treated like an afterthought. Like, I get it, people want action, because that's what the Sonic series is about. People are into the action of, the Sonic characters.
I'm
It's
into
just
the comedy of the Sonic characters, so I don't.
like, 'cause- um, but but, you know, um, but, but, you know, um, but, 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 you know, Yeah, it's just that episode 6 just, like I said, it just fell flat. It was just like, man, like the buyer wasn't even that threatening. It's like, sure, he got Knuckles' power, but he was dumb enough to stay and didn't fly away. I don't
I'm
know.
like a bird, let me fly away.
Like, I have no idea. I have no idea why, like, I have no idea why he was treated as an afterthought. So it's like I wish they would have developed the buyer more, then maybe found him more threatening, because you know,
Yeah.
Cause like when I watched it, I saw the buyer and I'm like, okay, who's this? Is he like the main villain or something? Turns out he was like used a little bit less than everyone else, so
Mhm.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt the climax was kind of like rushed. You could tell they had to just wrap it up quickly. I mean, I just quickly looked back to it, looked back at this fight scene now, and I was thinking like, yeah, he's just standing around while Wade picks up the bowling balls and puts on the gloves. It's like you could have just attacked him then.
Mhm. Like exactly. Like so you could say it was just the writing that fell flat, especially for the buyer, because it's like if they would have developed him all in all 6 of the episodes, then maybe we could have, considered him a threat, you know. But
Yeah.
he was just it's like he was just treated as an afterthought, which and I was like, man, I was like, I would have loved the villain if he had more screen time and we kind of learn about his motivation for wanting Knuckles. We don't really get that. We just know he's a dude that just wants Knuckles' power for some strange reason, but doesn't.
Yeah, it's never really explained. Like he just wants it.
I
Yeah,
got the power.
yeah. So I
But at
think that's
least like, because at least with the first Sonic movie, obviously we have obviously Robotnik and Sonic be developed together by
hmm
the end of the film. Well, this obviously the buyer is just he is just there. Like he has his own workshop doing these things this whole time. So he's been doing this during the first and second Sonic movies. It's like it's
yeah,
just yeah.
yeah. It, Yeah, if you don't treat your villains if you don't write them cohesive and and well and know about their motivations, how are we going to like this character, right?
More like, how are we going to care?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like, we want to
Like,
care about these villains, but we just don't care about them.
yeah,
exactly. I care more about Wade and his father.
yeah. Like, but I'm very curious to know, I'm very curious to know, about what did you what did you did you think like the ending was just like, wait, did I want to see when Knuckles returns to the Wachowskis?
Actually, yeah.
Hmm.
Like the ending was just weird. Like, I don't know, it felt like there should have been more after Knuckles was driving with Wade back to, Green Hill. It's like, where's the payoff?
Yeah.
I was like, where's Maggie, Sonic, and Tails? Shouldn't have Knuckles have returned to the Wachowski household?
And he's still grounded.
It's so funny because
Oh yeah.
it's
He
funny because
literally, yeah, he was grounded and he just broke his rules.
Like, we were just so focused on the story, we forgot about the fact that he was grounded.
yeah,
Yeah, and he's not supposed to be doing this. He's
He
gonna
said,
come back and be, it was supposed to be in your room. Hey, I got this cool hat. Leave me alone.
this cool hat. Yeah, like I wish they could have ended it off where Knuckles returns to the Wachowskis. At least
Yeah, they should have done that. Yeah.
because like the ending just it just felt weird. I was like, okay, driving off, right? And it's like, and then it just goes into like the ending credits. So like, that's it. there's no there's no extra scene. What?
Currently not. Don't worry.
Yeah, so episode 6, yeah, I would have to say is the worst episode. Like in terms of the pacing. Like
Yeah.
the pace like I get it, they were trying to wrap up everything, but it's like no, this is not how you do it because you they pretty much didn't even develop the buyer at all. So it's like I didn't really see him as a threat. It's like sure he took Knuckles' power, but it's like that's all you got. Uh, what's the motivation
Yeah.
for taking his powers?
Wait, who
So
are you talking about?
the buyer, like
Who?
Yeah.
the buyer,
Who are you talking about?
doomed. um, but yeah, he was just so underdeveloped. Like he was probably the character with the least amount of screen time, if anything. And and I think that's what fell flat about the episode 6 because it's like they didn't really give us proper closure either. So I think that's
No.
the pacing was just it was way too fast. It's like uh like yeah, there was just too many plot lines they were trying to resolve in one episode and yeah, that's never a good idea, to
No.
it's never a good idea in writing all.
Never. Yeah.
It-
If anything I've learned with story writing is that you got to have a good beginning and a very good end because in when you go and see a film you want to be hooked in to continue to watch it from the beginning and then you want to have a great ending so when you come out you go, oh, that was amazing, even if the middle was okay.
Mhm. Yeah, so like if we would got like if they would have paced it out in like maybe a few more episodes, then that would have been better, instead of
I
trying to
think so, yeah.
wrap it up all in one episode because it's like when you think about it, you have to follow like more than a few plot points. It's like, oh yeah, we gotta conclude the Mason Willoughby going after Knuckles. Oh, we gotta conclude the bowling tournament and see if Wade won,
Mm,
right? And then it's like, oh, and then Knuckles gotta be dealing with the buyer. And
yeah.
it's like, so it
Knuckles got to eat a sandwich.
I really like that knuckle sandwich.
I really do, yeah.
yeah, it was yeah, the pacing of episode 6 was just really bad where it's like
I think the best part of it was when Wade's mom and sister were just beating up his dad.
yeah.
And another best part is and the other best part is like where it ended cuz I thought the ending was kind of funny. Not like the ending like after the credits, but the one before. Cuz like it kind of reminded me of the SpongeBob movie. They were like, "You did it, Wade Whipple. You won, buddy. We did it." And then they just jump in the it's such a SpongeBob. They had that Ocean Man like ending. Like you, like when you saw that, do you like hear Ocean Man? By I like that. I don't know why I like it, but I like it.
Yeah, like if they would have gave us, proper closure, with Knuckles returning to the Wachowski household, you know, I think that would have been a better ending point instead of just leaving it where they're just leaving. It's like, what? like like Andrew, since you're a writer, would you have ended it where Knuckles returned to the Wachowski household? You know.
Yes, I would have because it started with that, and you kind of have to go back to that if you're doing a whole story because you do have to. Because when it finishes, you do question. So he was still grounded. How are they going to take it when he gets back? And what's Sonic and Tails going to say when they see the bike and the hat? And when Tom finds out what Wade's been doing, it's like is he gonna be like, "Whoa, man, you're a warrior." There's so many things you want to see that you don't see, which, yeah. 'Cause usually when you start a story, you have to kind of go back to what the beginning was to kind of wrap everything up.
Yeah, because like, wouldn't you as a viewer wanted to know if Maddie was like, "Hey, you broke the grounding rule," right? Like, wouldn't you have wanted to know that closure, you know? And
Yeah.
so, like, the ending was just abrupt and it didn't really sit well with me, where it's like, that's it? So,
Yeah. But then
like,
that's when you kind of tell that it's Wade's story this entire time. Because if it was Knuckles' story, we probably would have went back to the house in the beginning. But because it's Wade's story and Wade's story was finished and wrapped up, it's like we don't need to. So
mm,
I think that's probably why.
mm-hmm. Like, yeah, like the ending was, I felt unsatisfied, so I can definitely see where the criticism that people were like saying that like this is more about Wade, and I'm like, and then now after watching all 6 episodes, I can clearly see what they mean. Like, yeah,
Mm.
like you don't really see the like you don't really see, because I know people exaggerated and said, "Oh, you only see Knuckles like 10-minute screen time." It's more than that.
That was just exaggeration.
Yeah, exactly. That
Yeah.
was exaggeration. Because I'm
Yeah,
like,
exactly. I mean, the only episode he's definitely like not even in the episode is technically episode 4.
mm-hmm.
I mean, that's true. I mean, he did have like a few lines, and some of them being Wade.
Yeah, you could say Knuckles just appeared in the 4th episode, both in the beginning and in the end. If beginning and ending of the episode.
I think
Oh,
that's the same. I think that's the same with episode 5 as well.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Like
that
he
sounds-
did appear. Like he did appear in the he did appear in the beginning, and in the end.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
can I just talk about the fight? Can I just talk about the fight scene in episode 6? Was it? Yeah, it was episode 6. Can I just talk about this detail where, like, when you throw 2 rings at the same time, it just I don't know, like, I kind of like that. I mean, not kind of, I really like that, cuz like, oh, like, imagine if you just saw this in your hotel room and like, what? That'd be like a bizarre thing to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be like just looking at it in awe, like, whoa.
Like, that bit was amazing.
It makes me wonder if those rings are like Sonic's lost rings, or I've wondered about that. Where they
The
got
lost rings in the mountains.
yeah, I think yeah. Makes me wonder if
Mm.
those are the same rings.
How else did you think Agent Willoughby and Mason find it?
That's true. Yeah, they
Yeah.
probably, yeah.
That's the one thing I do like about the Sonic movies, though. The little detail that when he loses all his rings, he's actually on the floor and he's really like down and knocked out. Especially in the first film, because when he has that explosion, he's literally knocked out. And then the final fights, when he loses all his rings, he's actually down, and it's just like the games. It's such a great little detail.
I mean, he got hit by a missile, and then all his rings went flying off, including him. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then he collects his rings back up and he's back going. But yeah,
Interesting. um, but overall, like, which characters do you think they did pretty well in terms of writing? I just want to know your guys' thoughts.
I swear, if I say Wanda,
Wanda.
I'll say Wade. Wade was written very well.
I mean, because in the first and second movie, we don't really know anything about Wade other than the fact that he's like the comic relief character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a bit like like you say, a bit like Goofy, like the Goofy movie. You always saw him as a funny character, but in the Goofy movie, you start seeing other layers to him being a father, and he's trying to be there for his son, and it's such a good film. I love that movie.
Mm. Yeah, like I would say like wait, yeah, I do agree. Wade was written very well. We learned more about his motivation, backstory. It was it was like perfection. Like I love learning about his backstory because it's like I do want to know more about this character, you know? Like
Mm,
and stuff. And then and of course we get it in the show. Um Um, of course, Wanda, she was written pretty well. She's basically a character we're supposed to dislike and hate. They wrote her pretty well for that.
mm.
That's something I'll
I,
commend.
I think so. They might be right. They might be saying we're supposed to find her funny.
um, but yeah, I think uh, I'm pretty sure you both will agree with me. The one with the weakest writing is the buyer, hands down.
Yeah,
The buyer.
The buyer was badly written, but the acting was great for him. I think the actor did a good job. It's just a shame his character was just useless. It doesn't even have a name. They just call him the buyer.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, did you not have any name? So you just went with the buyer? Okay.
They should have. They should have called him Snively. Made it Snively.
It- you're gonna be like, my Sonic Sat AM fan indeed. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Yeah. It would have been interesting actually if they actually just named him Snively. If
Yeah,
anything, because that would have been a great reference because I know the team season, right? They're continuing Sonic Sat AM
that is
when
true. Yes.
there's season 3, and then Snively's supposed to be the villain, um, in
Oh
that.
yes, yes.
So I think,
I had a good time voicing him, being the villain.
yeah. So that's why I was like, yeah, like that was like a missed opportunity because literally, Jim Carrey's Eggman was Robotnik. I'm like, that would have been a perfect opportunity to name the character Snively. um,
Yeah.
but they didn't go with that, which is unfortunate. But um, but I want to know, what did you both think of the way Mason and Willoughby were written?
I think they were written well in the first two episodes because we actually got a bit more of who they are, what they're trying to do. They're working for someone, and it creates that kind of mysterious interest. Where it's like, okay, I'm keen to see where this is going. And then after that, they were just turned into some kind of, I guess, Team Rocket. I guess the
Rocket. I
best
love,
way to describe them.
yeah, like I think the best way to describe it is I think the best way to describe it is um uh yeah, I would say the best way to describe it is like Mason and Willoughby are like Jesse and James, and then like the buyer is like Giovanni. Like
Mm. Or the buyer is Meowth.
Um, I think the buyer would most likely be Giovanni because he's more mysterious, you know?
Yeah.
Because Giovanni was very mysterious for a long while, you know, and until like the black and white anime where you kind of see him get out of his like headquarters and does something. Um, but but yeah, I do agree. It's like Mason and Willoughby were written pretty well. 2 episodes. It's like, yeah, um,
Hmm.
um, like they were written pretty well. Where it's like, hey, okay, so they're like corrupt GUN agents. I'm like, That's interesting.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder if they're going to reference that in movie 3 or anything. I'm very curious actually. Because I know in movie 3 they're gonna be, we all know the big reveal about Shadow, and they mention, and of course in movie 2 they reveal Ji Wen. So it's like
Yeah.
it makes me
Also, we need to quickly just mention they did kind of hint Shadow in the Knuckles show that Shadow interrupted a bowling game once upon a time.
mm.
So does that mean Shadow just he popped up there, or did Shadow?
What?
What?
What? Sorry, I just realized the reason why my mom was calling me out for like the past half hour.
All I hear is wrappers and packaging.
Yeah. Yeah, I got silver.
Oh.
You got silver for
Oh.
what?
Oh, I have no idea how to use Amazon gift cards, so I just so I asked my mom to like get it for me because I don't have an Amazon account. So
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, is it like one of those mystery boxes?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I had those Amazon gift cards since Christmas, and I'm like, okay, I need to use this for something, but what? What's a plush that I'd never had before, but I really want? And it's silver.
Ah. Got
Nice.
you.
Yeah, I was gonna say about Shadow. So they hinted that he appeared in one of the bowling games back in the day. So does it mean Shadow just interrupted the bowling game, or was he like, did he play bowling? Just,
Imagine Shadow bowling.
Is that gonna be in Sonic 3? He's gonna go, I used to be a great baller back in the day. I was the king. I was the kingpin.
I am so curious. Like I said, oh yeah, Doom, what did you think of the way Mason and Willoughby were written in the Knuckles show?
For some reason, I liked Mason, but I didn't like Willoughby.
Gotcha.
I think it's because of the fact that it was Kid Cudi.
And I get you. Yeah, I would say the ones that were written well, is Wade, Wanda, oh yeah, the mom, Wendy. The mom was written pretty well too. Like you understand why she values like both of her children being there, for Shadabat.
If anything, she'd do anything for her children, so much to a point that she would even beat up their own dad.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I would say all three of them were written pretty well. What did you think the way Knuckles was written? Was it like on par with movie 2? I want to know your guys' thoughts on that.
I mean, I like to think so.
What was the question?
Like the question was, do you think Knuckles was written pretty well in the Knuckles show? And is it on par with the with Sonic movie 2?
Yeah, I'd say so. Knuckles was written very well on the show. He was constantly constant quality. You know what I mean? He was just quality all the throughout. For his lines were great. His delivery was great. Idris was great as Knuckles. I think Knuckles was written fine as a character. It's just a shame his side of the story was just, it was just there. It's like
his purpose of the show was to teach Wade how to be a warrior, a bowling warrior.
His purpose was to sell the show, and it worked.
Yeah. I think what I also love is the song choice. It was just perfect. The song choice was just and I love the detail that they kind of changed in the intro for all 6 of the episodes. I'm not sure if you guys noticed that.
Oh, I did. Like how wait, you said something about the intros, right?
Yeah, like before the episode started.
Yeah. I really love the detail where Wade is playing a different instrument with the others.
Hmm. Yeah, so it's a nice little detail, that they change up the intro depending on the episode. So like the intro is top notch. Like I love the little like scribbly style they went with it too. I think it's a clever touch. Like I'm like what do you guys think of the scribbles for the intro?
It really simplifies the art. It really simplifies the style, and I like it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like
Mm,
Like literally
indeed.
the the scribble is the reason why I is the reason how I drew Wade in the thumbnail right now.
oh what did you think, Andrew?
But no, I agree. Yeah, I like the. I just like how it turned out. Really, it was good.
Yeah. Like this
Bang bang! I am the warrior.
yeah, the song choice was just perfect because that was the main focal point, you know. That
Mm.
that was, like Knuckles was tasked with taking on someone to make a warrior, right? So that's why the song choice, "The Warrior," was used. um but yeah, but how would you guys rate it from like in between 1 to 10? How would you rate the Knuckles show?
Um. I think as a whole, I think I'm in two minds. I think as a person who just enjoys shows, movies, and just watches it for the entertainment, I'll give it a 3 out of 5. But as a Sonic fan, I'll probably give it a 2 out of 5.
How about you, do?
I feel like the child's about to break into my room. Hold on.
mm, I would
Let
say
me rephrase that. I think actually, as a Sonic fan, I give it 2.5 out of 5. Actually,
2.5 out of 5. Mm.
yeah, almost, yeah. So overall, together, I'll say a full-blown 3. But if you ask me as a Sonic fan side, I'll say yeah, 2.5. Because I'm disappointed on the Knuckles side. Even though I like how he's written, I like his scenes, I like some of the lines, and I do love the first episode a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it was done by Jeff Fowler, so I think I think at the moment I if I see his name on these things, I'd be like, yeah, this is gonna be very good.
Yeah. Like I do agree, Jeff Fowler. Like I wasn't worried when I saw Jeff Fowler for the first episode, and it really shows because if you ask
Mm,
anyone who's watched the Knuckles show, what's your favorite episode? The first episode.
yeah,
Probably people will say that, or it probably the second would probably be the fourth episode because of the musical. If any, but
surprisingly, my partner's favorite episode was episode 3.
oh, the one with the
Yeah,
shark.
she quite enjoyed all of that, and also really enjoyed them just having dinner, eating, and just chatting and having the family dynamic. So she quite liked that.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, like I would say like yeah, the Sonic side of me, I'm just like, yeah, like it's not bad, but I can see where the criticism is justifiable, in
Mm,
terms of, of like, oh, this is more about Wade, and lots of people are like saying it should have been called the Wade show. And then I can definitely see where
Oh
they're
my
coming.
god.
yeah,
Yeah, so that's something I can definitely see, where the criticism is justifiable, where people are complaining that
yeah,
if anything, it's like, yeah, I do agree. Like at least Knuckles was probably there, um I would say probably maybe I would say 20 minutes of screen time. What did you think, Andrew?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, because
What are you
he's
talking about?
quite. We're just talking about how much Knuckles is actually in the show, like, overall. Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say he's like half in the show. That's what I would say. Though it does concern me though, because the Knuckles show, if you look at obviously like review scores, is way higher than the Sonic movies. And obviously, in most companies, producers look at that and go, okay, we're going to keep copying and following this because it's the highest score. Which then makes me worried if they do a Tails series, it'd probably be about like, I don't know, like Rachel and Randall's relationship, and Tails is just there.
Yeah, I don't know what critics are looking for because it's like, you do need to realize you need to look through it through a Sonic fan's perspective. We see it as
Exactly.
we kind of see it as like it's kind of like it kind of felt like the title should have been Wade and Knuckles, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which would, yeah, which would be a nice nod to the games as well.
Like it's kind of like I get it, because maybe from the marketing perspective, they think, oh, people won't watch it if Wade is in the title. Let's just call it the Knuckles Show. It's like, no, that's kind of you're kind of um you're kind of sending misinformation by doing, because
Yeah.
when you titles are very important when you think about it. Like titles,
Yeah.
yeah, like titles are very, very important. So I would say if they would have just been honest and just called it Wade and Knuckles, that would have been, you know, we wouldn't be complaining as much,
Yeah.
because
That's
that's,
like that's like seeing like they released Toy Story. It's called Toy Story and there's no toys.
yeah, exactly. Like, oh yeah, Doom. How would you rate the Knuckles show?
I just like to think that it's really good when your brain's turned off because like this is something that I was really looking forward to. So like I just have to turn it off because like if anything I don't like being I'm not a I'm not the kind of people that would just like rate a movie. I'm just the kind of people that would just say that I would like it or if I don't like it. So
Mm.
so like the thing is that I actually really like it. Like I really
Oh,
like it. Like just like I mean like just like in general cuz like my family doesn't know anything about Sonic. And then there's me who kind of does. I don't know. I've been a fan for like 5 years, so I'm a noob. But I'll just say that I like it.
Mm.
so sorry about that.
Do I have to repeat myself?
Yes, because my I'm so sorry. Can you repeat that?
So like I said, I really like it because my brain was completely turned off. Like it's like I enjoyed like like actually call me crazy. I enjoyed everything because I'm not a hater. I'm not a hater, but at the same time there's Wanda.
At the same time, there's Wanda. I get you. Yeah, so I would probably rate it just like you, Andrew, from a Sonic fan's perspective, because it's kind of a misleading title. If they would have just been honest and just put Wade and Knuckles, then we wouldn't really be complaining. It's like, that's like more honest, if
Mm.
anything. Because like
Yeah.
that's just from my perspective. Because like when I saw like people who already watched all 6 episodes, they were like complaining that like, oh my gosh, they should have just called this the Wade Show. I'm like, huh. And then of course the marathon happened. I'm like, I can see why they're complaining. So if they would have just been honest with the title, then we wouldn't really be complaining about it. But yeah,
I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
complaining.
yeah, yeah. So I would rate it from a Sonic fan's perspective, like maybe in the three. It's not bad, but
Mm,
the pacing in like probably the final two episodes kind of like threw it off, because they were trying to wrap up everything. So
yeah.
yeah, because I always look into pacing when I'm watching TV shows. Because sometimes if you're too fast on your pacing in films and shows, like sometimes it falls flat. And yeah,
Yeah.
episode 6 just fell flat with the pacing. Like, don't get me wrong, I like the fight choreography in the series, but it's like they were just trying to wrap up way too much in the last episode where it just fell flat, unfortunately.
They were giving the
Yeah.
Disney Plus treatment.
Yeah. The
It's
over
you do have to wonder though if like the reason why Knuckles is like gets less screen time is because they spent so much budget
Mhm.
on that musical number.
I knew about that, so
Yeah.
All that puppetry and the effects and Michael Bolton, he ain't cheap.
I won't, son. I
Yeah.
never.
Yeah, so yeah. I'm going to rate it a 3. I'm neutral on it, where it's like it's not bad, but it's just like the pacing in the final episode kind of like lowered score for me on that. So I would say 3 out of 5 for me for the Knuckles show.
Which is why I
um
completely turned off my brain just to watch it.
but overall it's a like do you know what they should have done? They should have like at least hinted movie 3 in it. I think that would have also been a good way to like lead into
Well,
movie 3.
they kind of did when they mentioned that incident that happened, years ago in the bowling place. 50 years ago. That was kind of hint, hint. Shadow was here.
Well, I think it, like it should have been hinted at the end because that's what they did in the first 2 Sonic films, right? They
Oh
Yeah, but
yeah,
it was
yeah, yeah.
but it was
something
Sonic,
like,
not Knuckles.
yeah, so that's why I'm
Oh
kind of
yeah, and also it's Wade's story as well, so you can't have Wade have a post-credit scene.
yeah. Yeah, I think if they would have did something similar to at least get us hyped for movie 3, then maybe that could have worked. That could have been like an extra scene, but they didn't go with that. So,
Yeah.
um,
I
but
mean, they could have done something to hype us for Wade season 2, but
mhm. All right, here's our what's your final word? How in one word, how would you describe the Knuckles show?
hmm, hmm.
I don't know. My
I
brain was turned off when I watched it.
how would I describe it in one word? Oh my gosh. uh,
Oh my gosh. Giggling child.
giggling show. Oh.
Okay, hold up.
I actually don't know. How would you describe it in one word?
Knuckles or Wade.
Wade.
If I were to describe the Knuckles show in one word, I would probably I would probably say hilarious because there were some hilarious.
You know how I would describe it in one word?
Wait, what word?
Bowling.
Bowling.
Oh.
Bowling.
That makes a lot of sense. That's a focal point.
I guess I would say in one word, family.
We are family.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. All right. So looks like we are going to end.
What's a vertical?
We are going to end this live stream. This was so fun to do with you, Andrew and Doom, and this is before we meet each other at the in-person events. That is
I'm still freaking out about that.
Oh, girl, Andrew and I, we are both going to give you a big hug when we see you.
Please do. I would love that.
we, we just need to coordinate, Andrew. Like wherever you are, I just need to like find you so that way when Doom arrives at the venue, we can both hug her.
Yeah.
But yeah, who knows? You might see more of these Team Serenity live streams in the future, so you never know. um,
Yeah.
but yeah, this is our very first one. We wanted to do our discussion about all 6 of the episodes in the Knuckles show. But yeah, stay tuned. Sonic Lore with Radar and Lucky Charm podcast are coming back. They were just on a bit of a break a bit because both of my special guests they were busy. So but we'll probably most likely be back in July. Of course, stay tuned for also an upcoming episode of Tangle and Blaze. We have that coming up in July, so stay tuned for that. And I do have in planning for the upcoming next episode of Goddess Spotlight with Liaserenityrose. So, um, but yeah, if you are going to the Sonic Revolution in-person event, it is this Sunday in Carson, California, at the Carson Center, and us Team Serenity, we will be meeting each other there, and you will be seeing us there. So if you are going to the in-person event for Sonic Revolution this Sunday, you will be seeing us there. So um
Hey.
yeah, so
Come say hi.
yeah, come say hi. And it's from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So if you want to meet us, come by because we would love to meet you. So um this is this is so bye everyone. This is Team Serenity signing out.